Call this meeting to order. Tuesday, April 15th, 3 minutes after 6. We'll have a moment of silence. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let me remind everybody this year we got some new people here that I don't recognize. Welcome everybody. When we have public comment, you each have 5 minutes to speak. We will time you. This is a business meeting. It will be conducted with all due respect to every party here. Okay, and your public comment 5-minute period. We will try to answer your questions as best we can. After that, whatever decisions are made on the agenda, there'll be no discussion. Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes. Previous meeting, we do not have the minutes. We will have in our next meeting. Okay, we'll move to correspondence. I have one letter from the United States Senate. March 13th, 2014, U.S. Senate passed Bill 3370, the Homeowners Flood Insurance Affordability Act. This bipartisan legislation will provide homeowners relief from increasing flood insurance costs, which were unintentionally caused by the Bigger Waters Act. This bill was signed into law by the President on March 21st, 2014. First item on the agenda, public comment. I'll read the list as it was taken, and I'll call your name if you want to speak. First person, Terry Ross. You have to speak in the microphone for us, please. Everybody does. Because everything is recorded.
Yes. My name's Terry Ross, and when I came home on Thursday, the 10th, I found this stop work order stapled up to my building that I'm building. I'd like to know why.
According to the maps, you're in the floodplain.
Okay. Can I move dirt there?
Some dirt. I can't answer how much dirt you can move. We have our floodplain manager here that will help me answer questions if I can't answer them. How much dirt do you want to move? What do you want me to do?
Well, right now I don't want to move any yet,
Okay.
but I'm going to.
Okay.
What I'm getting at is, what about moving a building on your property? Do you have to have a permit for that? If you're in the floodplain?
Is the building cost more than $1,000?
Yes.
Okay, yes, you have to have a permit.
Okay, why am I the only one that gets the stop work notice in that community? That's what I want to know. You got people on the right-hand side of me moving buildings, building stuff, digging through the creek. You got people on the other side of me digging dirt right beside the creek, diverting water, and my garage is over 350 feet away from the creek. I just don't understand.
I can't answer that because I don't know anything about any of these other people, what they're doing.
But if you're out there and see what I'm doing, you ought to be see what they're doing. I mean, what's fair for one is fair for all.
I agree with you. What's fair for one is fair for all. Yep. Where's, Bo, you have anything to comment on?
Well, allow me to introduce myself, everybody. I'm Bo Risson. I'm the new floodplain manager for Doddridge County. So we came out Thursday and did the stop work order that was on our list. And so I apologize for the fact that I'm kind of catching up. I'm playing catch up here and trying to get my feet under me and get knowledgeable about Doddridge County. Now, I've been a floodplain manager for the past 2 years down in Ward County, so I do know the floodplain management program itself. But getting the actual lay of the land here in Doddridge County, it's going to take me a couple of weeks or a month or two to really get my feet underneath me going. As to your individual case, I really can't speak with great detail and knowledge. I know that the structure is going up. I was informed that the structure was going up and that we needed to place a stop work order on.
May I ask
which we did? And that was with Mr. Sandor.
Who told you the structure was going up?
I did.
You was out there and seen it? And did you see what is digging in the creek next door?
I seen some piles of dirt on the other side of your house, but I didn't know where it came from.
That there's in my yard. That's not what I'm talking about. On down the road, half a mile, they're digging, the creek has a turn in it, and they're digging dirt right beside the creek, piling it up, hauling it out, selling it. That's diverting the water.
No, I didn't see that.
That's what I'm figuring. That's what I'm getting at. Why pick on me? You're not gonna do nothing for anybody else?
Nobody's picking on you, sir.
Well, I'm the only one that got this paper?
Well, maybe there's other ones coming.
Well,
don't know.
maybe they better.
Okay. We don't know.
Now, what do I have to do to finish building my garage, which is not in, it's up the side of my house?
Well, he'll have to answer that for you if you can.
Actually, it is according to the FEMA maps. And so that's what we have to go by.
All central stations at floodplain, the whole thing.
Exactly. So under the floodplain ordinance that this newly passed here, and that is the law of the land, it's the law of the county, we have to abide by FEMA and what FEMA says from the national level. And I will be the first one to admit, and I will say this is probably shooting myself in the foot here at the beginning. The floodplain program itself, as a national program, it's really bad. It's really bad. I can show you maps from, and I'm sure there's maps here in Doddridge County, I can show you maps from Ward County that are absolutely, the things are not in the flood zone, but on the map they are. And so as a floodplain manager, I can't go out and say, I can't look at your property and say, yeah, there's no way that's ever going to flood, here's a waiver. I'm not authorized to do that. By FEMA, I'm authorized to come out and fine you if you're not doing your construction right and everything, but there's not much I can do.
On my own property, I'm not going to do anything. On my own property.
You can, but you have to follow guidelines and procedures. In along with the work order, I've attached a large portion of the actual floodplain ordinance. It's not the full floodplain ordinance, but it states specifically about the actual.
So what I got to do in order to finish my building?
First thing's permit. Okay, anything that is a building construction here in the county, whether it be in floodplain or not, requires a building permit.
I built my whole house and never had a building permit.
Well, I can't say as to
Took
that.
me 4 years and then nobody said a word.
I can't say anything about that, and I can't address that. What I can do is address from the point that I was hired to the future of the floodplain. As your property is in the floodplain, you can build. We're not telling you you can't build, but there are proper procedures that you have to go through by the law of the county that you have to go through. So, and I'm happy to work with you. I'm happy to work with you. There are plenty of folks that you can build in the floodplain, but there are certain things such as elevating your utilities and things of that nature above the base flood elevation so that it's not impacting your neighbors.
What's the criteria to move dirt in order to get you out of the floodplain?
There's an entire section on fill, and you can do that. You can actually build grades up to where your lowest adjacent
How do I get
grades
the dirt?
are. I'm sorry?
How can I get the dirt?
That's up to the individual homeowner. Now, with the issue that I think I know where you're going with this,
State.
as far as digging by the river and things of that nature.
Yeah, but I'm not, when I move my dirt
I can
onto my
address
property,
that.
I'm going to just be away from the creek better than 25 to 30 feet away from the creek before I ever start digging.
Right.
And I'm only taking that much off my property.
Right. Understood.
But the state will not dump their dirt on me because I'm in a floodplain. That's what I'm trying to do, is build myself up out of the floodplain.
Sure. I can help you through that process, and I'm very much willing to do that. That's what I'm here for. That's one of the reasons that I was hired, is to help folks through this. You should be able to build on your own property.
So you see my house is up high, it's up out of floodplain, my house is, as far as the house. It's 8 foot up in the air on one end.
Okay. It depends on what FEMA says the base flood elevation is for that area. Now, I don't know. Okay, what I can see on the maps, the entire area that
The
you're
entire
in
thing
there
is floodplain.
is in the floodplain. So depending on the base elevation of your actual, of your home, okay, compared to the elevation, you have to get an elevation certificate. And that will tell you your actual elevation of your lowest adjacent grade. That as combined to what FEMA determines as the BFE, your base flood elevation, will determine the proper construction and how high you need to raise that. There's a 2-foot freeboard ordinance within the Doddridge County ordinance. So it has to be at least 2 foot above that BFE. So, and that's a standard that everyone will have to meet going forward.
So I come to see you about getting permit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm happy to work with you. You know, it's your property and you should be able to build on it. We just need to make sure we're doing it right.
Okay. Thank you.
And I don't have any business cards right now, but anybody that wants to see me, I do have established an official email address. So I can give everybody my email address. You're more than welcome to email me. And then you can also contact me here. I'm only here part-time, but you're more than welcome to contact me through the county clerk's office.
Could you go ahead and give your email now?
Sure, absolutely. It's pretty simple. It's going to be Doddridge County, all spelled out, lowercase. Doddridge County, FPM, Frank, Peter, Mary, as in floodplain manager. So Doddridge County, FPM, @gmail.com.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Joanne, do you want to speak?
No, I better not. I better just keep my cool set right here.
Okay.
Sir, we didn't get your name.
My name is, full name is Edwin, E-D-W-I-N, Riston, W-R-I-S-T-O-N. I go by Bo. That's my full name.
Thank you.
Tammy, next, you're next.
I just have a few questions.
Okay, let's go right up to the microphone.
Has there been any progress in the hiring of an executive assistant?
Same answer as last time.
No.
We haven't got any room yet, so, but we're addressing that.
I'm hoping that they'll be coming on board before we need to get the webpage completed, okay? I've noticed a change for the better with the parking problem. Will there be any more restrictions placed on the abstractors to cut back on the number in the courthouse and the confusion?
Not to my knowledge. You, Greg?
We haven't decided anything.
Okay, the commission agreed to the budget of $70,000 to purchase a new unit for the DCAA. Did the commission review any written documentation or estimates of the repairs needed to the old one?
I did not.
And it wasn't, I knew what the request was for a chassis.
Well, okay. Will the commission consider paying off the balance of the lease purchase agreement for the DCAA?
Wait a minute, before we go any further, you know, that's nothing different from any other official's request for a vehicle. You know, it's put in the budget for to purchase, but then bids are taken.
Well, I was just wondering about the old one. Was there any confirmation of what all was wrong with it before, you know, a new one's being purchased? Has the commission received a report from the state police on the state police investigation on the DCAA?
I haven't received anything. You? You ready? I haven't received nothing.
Okay, since there may be extra funds this year, will the commission consider providing the funds for a water line to be run to the Doddridge County Park? It was discussed many moons ago.
I would consider discussing that, water to the park. The other two commissioners would agree to discuss it. I would at some time in the near future. Huh?
We need it.
I think that would probably come through the West Union Public Service District.
Well, with it being out, your PSD was the one that was working on it before, I believe.
Yeah.
No, really. Said the other PSD.
Yeah.
rather than the West Union.
Right, they were working on that, what, a couple years ago?
Mhm.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome, thank you. Edward, I can't read the last name, I'm sorry.
Adams, Edward B. Adams.
Okay. You can come up and speak, sir. I'll time you on the clock.
But, I mean, the reason we're over here is to try to get my mom's will settled. But first we got to get Zelma Rattles settled. It's been 10 years, and my sister handles it. She sat back there, got attorney with her. And my mom's been dead for 7 years, and that's too long. It had no reason why they couldn't settle. I'd like to hear me and her reports, if you would, because it's on the same deal.
I think it's on the agenda.
I think you're on the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay. Right after public comment, we're going to hear
Okay.
that, and
Okay.
you'll, okay?
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Tina?
Well, first I'd like to ask, since there's so many people here at the third 6 o'clock meeting, will you continue to have one meeting a month at 6 o'clock?
Sure. I have no objection,
No objection either.
Charlie. I have no objection.
Okay, my next question is, I was wondering if anybody's checked out that Chestnut Grove Church flood area, or if you made the new floodplain manager aware.
Well, I'll answer that. I spent the day Thursday with him, and we didn't get all those issues accomplished that one day. Okay, we had a lot of permits to go, we had a lot of places to go, and we did not make it there. And I apologize, but our next day that he's going to be here, we will get there, and I think that'll probably be Thursday.
Yeah. Okay, and then I was wondering if there were any thoughts of hiring somebody for this water withdrawal site monitoring. And I still think it's a concern that nobody monitors, and we have 29 legal water withdrawal sites, and there are times, almost all of last summer, where if you weren't allowed to withdraw any water, but if there's nobody monitoring, how you gonna know? I mean, there are people that are monitoring places close to them, but I don't even know where they're all at. I don't know that anybody knows. Nobody's keeping track of anything.
I don't know where they are either. And we haven't talked about hiring anybody to monitor those sites. That would be something we can discuss with our floodplain manager and get his opinion.
Because I think that's something, you could actually do yourself if you felt it was a concern to the county.
Okay?
I think it is a concern.
Okay, thank you. Ted? You can speak.
You want me to talk all about it?
You can speak.
Okay, thank you, Colonel. Hey, I don't know what I'm to bring up, but, I don't know whether what's on the agenda. I really didn't read it, but anyway, the gas activity is a big concern. We have crumbling roads and, in repair of the roads, those open dugouts that, when they leave the job site before they're filled back in, that's probably a lot more dangerous after dark than it is when I drive. But, and also that rock, when it gets on the hard road too, it just tears up what's left of the hard road, the rock fill, if that spills over onto the hard road areas. We're having a lot of trouble with hillsides over there where they're putting in the compressor station on Brigan's Run, and we've got a big concern coming up over all these compressor stations. The air quality is, since they have to be so close, apparently 5 to 8 miles to push this heavy gas. the compressor stations, we need them every 5 to 8 miles. And cumulative air quality would be something to check on. Tina said something about drug task force that you're looking to give money to. Well, got a lot of the kind of history in this county on that. First, in the neighboring county, Clarksburg just abolished their drug task force because it was ineffective apparently. But I know you've had experience with your father having the drug task force come in on him when he was infirmed over the fig trees that he was growing in the greenhouse. And then it was just the last year or two that my neighbor there, it was Everett Wine, and he died in one of those things, and he wasn't even the target of the drug task force. I think any money that you're considering putting into this should probably be directed to the, I think it would be better utilized in education at the grade, middle, and high school level, and put those monies in the education of this to prevent it. The policing, the after effects of this, it hasn't worked, for the last 50 years. But the education end does work real well, and it's been proven. I think you may want to direct the money towards that. But I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Pitts.
Hi, I'm Lynn Pitts, and I live off of Reagan's Run. This is just a comment. On March the 31st, we had a visitor from our local sheriff department. He brought along with him 2 Antera guys. They came on to our property. He came there basically, I guess, to observe why Antera people tried to tell us that they were not trespassing on our property. Why they did this is because, and this is my husband, and this is what he does. He walks the property looking at different things, observing, but he always has a rifle strapped on his back. It is, the butt is up here, and it's pointing down to the ground, and it's slung on the back of his shoulder. So, Antera people is coming across, and they're clearing trees because they're getting ready to put a pipeline in. No, they're not allowed on our property. And we said so. Not to touch it, not to even come close to it. And he's walking that morning, on the 31st, and this is very important, 31st. He sees these guys, and he just basically says, how's it going, or whatever. And they said, okay, we're doing our job, but we're going to be moving on. Doing something else, we'll be talking to somebody, you'll be getting visitors. And sure enough, in a couple hours, like I said, deputy sheriff and 2 Antera guys came onto our property to say, hey, we got a job to do, da-da-da-da-da, we're not trespassing. If this was supposed to be a form of intimidation, I don't know. But this is my comment as far as they came on our property. A county road ends at the beginning of our property. Yeah, they did fall trees, and trees did fall on our property. We didn't say anything about that neither. When are they going to clean up this mess? I don't know. But I know as of March 31, there can be no more trees cut for clearing of anything because of what they call the Indiana Act. Not until, I think, November. That was my comment. Oh, he also brought him up in a sheriff's car. Use of taxpayers' money, and to me, a waste of time. Just to say, hey, they're doing their job. Okay, well, do your job. but we was not doing anything to them. We are always out on our property and we're always carrying a weapon. You know, with summer now coming, there's snakes, there's everything. So yes. Is that against the law? To be on my own property carrying a gun? I don't think so. So that's one thing. And the other thing, this is just a pet peeve of mine, but it bothers me every time I come up to the library. Over there is the sheriff's department. And I think in front of their building, there's 3 or 4 signs that says, no parking. No parking. It doesn't say with the exception of official cars or law enforcement officers. It says no parking. There's always sheriff cars parked in front of that building. I think the sign should be changed. And like I said, it's nitpicking, but it's bothers me. No parking is no parking. Thank you.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
Did the sheriff actually come out himself, or was it a deputy?
No, it was a deputy.
Okay.
I did not get his name. He was nice. He just stood there. He didn't say anything. He just was there, you know.
Okay.
He did, like I said, escort these 2 gentlemen in an official, in a law enforcement vehicle.
Okay. Thank you. Kirkwood?
I wanted to speak about the Northwest appeal, so should I wait until later?
Yeah, that's on the agenda. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let me back up. Let me back up here for a minute. If you want to speak about it now, you got 5 minutes. Sorry, okay? If you want to talk about it now, you got 5 minutes public comment. After we discuss that on our agenda, we're not going to have no more comment about it. Sorry.
What do you mean, after you discuss it or after we all discuss it? You're going to have more time?
Whenever we go down our agenda and do our items on here, we're not discussing anything anymore in the open meeting. We're going to make our decisions, and that's it. You know, we're not going to sit here and have a public comment again. Okay?
Now that's new, right? Because
Do what?
I said that's like a new rule or something, because
We did that.
used to be able to discuss.
We did that at our last meeting. We made the same rule at our last meeting. What happens is, we just start talking, everybody starts talking about the same thing over and over and over, and we just sit here and rehash the same things we go through all the time. Am I correct?
May I ask a
Am I
question?
correct, Greg?
That's, yes.
I don't want to give any false information.
If the person's involved with whatever's listed on the agenda, would they be allowed to talk whenever it comes up the agenda time?
If your name's on the agenda, like this person wants to sell this estate, they can talk at that time, or they can do their 5 minutes now, which they shouldn't be doing their 5 minutes now because they don't, you know, they're on the agenda to speak at a certain item. I don't see anybody here from Mark West. Do I see anybody here from Mark West Company? I don't see anybody here. Okay.
Well, it's Mark West that I wanted to talk about.
Do what?
It's Mark West that I want to talk about.
You go ahead.
At the Mark West Liberty Sherwood processing plant.
Okay.
You passed a permit 13103,
Yes?
but it clearly states in our floodplain ordinance that they have to show, not just say we have or whatever, but they have to show you, that you have to know that they have the other permits in place from West Virginia DEP, from FEMA, from whoever else they need one. And I think in that place, in that particular instance, it's also the Army Corps of Engineers,
Yeah.
and maybe another one, I can't remember that. But with all of these required and not having been provided, how is it legal for you to okay that permit?
let me interrupt you for 1 minute, okay? Our floodplain manager is here, and when the time comes for Mark West, he's going to give everybody an explanation of just what you're asking there, okay? He's going to explain all that. So,
All right. Well,
forgive me for interrupting.
That's
Go
okay,
ahead.
that's okay.
Go ahead.
I am, number one, just flat out on the legality. If we have an ordinance, we need to be following the ordinance.
Yes.
But the other thing is about that whole site and the awareness that it is only, I'm not even sure, what, 4 miles, maybe 5 miles from our intake for the county water, our city water. Of course, it goes beyond the city. They explain things so nicely because they are experts, but they're not just experts at what they do. They apparently are good experts at telling you just what they need to tell you and not any more so that it sounds good. When I asked about all those gas pipes carrying all these hazardous chemicals, I was told we didn't need to worry about that because they're a gas. And if one of those pipes should rupture, it's gas. It's going to all rise into the air and it'll dissipate, no problem. But then I found out, oh, no. My science was a little bit shaky. It's been a long time since I was in a science class. These chemicals, these gases, are heavier than air. So these gases are not going to dissipate. They're going to go to the lowest place, and that's right on top of our water. And when it's right on top of our water, it's going to mix with our water. And we're going to be in at least as bad a position as Charleston. And you have people down there who still can't use their water. Think about living since the first week of January, and you can't take a shower or wash your dishes or fill a pot to make some pasta. I think that this is an extremely important thing. There have been spills that don't seem to have been reported until way later than, something could have been done. And some of them are in that area. They're upstream from our water intake. And how often do we check our water in our city? Do we run those tests, once a year? Every 6 months? They're going to catch anything at that point.
I don't know how often they test it, but I'm going to assume they test it more frequently than that, but that's, something.
Yeah, I really don't think so. But it's, it's something that really needs to be tested, especially for the heavy metals and some of these things that you're not going to taste, you're not going to notice it. It's going to play havoc with your body, but we're not going to notice for a good while. And I think that testing needs to be done much more frequently, and we need to be publicizing. The water's been tested, and these numbers may have been rising, but there's no problem, or whatever, or these numbers have come down, whatever it might be. But I think that just for some peace of mind, that we should do that testing frequently and have it publicized.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Woods, nope, sorry, you didn't mark down the picture, sorry.
Well, I didn't mark yes, but can I go ahead and say something?
Sure. You can.
Thanks for letting me speak here
You're
today.
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, my concern is also with the Mark West plant. Folks in Doddridge County need to know what's going on up there. There's a big concern with that area. This all needs to be reviewed. You guys can't jump into this and not think about future generations and what's going to be happening at that plant. It's kind of disheartening when we have one of our own representatives, Mr. Roger Romine, saying that you're not going to recognize the county in 10 years. Does that make us all want to live here? I want to live in the county that when I moved here 20 years ago, I want to live in that county. I don't want to live in an industrialized area where the area is run by gas companies and they're incorporating county sheriff's departments to come out on the folks' land. Just like Ms. Pitt said, there's a concern there with that, and I'm hoping that the county commissioners and the sheriff's department are concerned with the folks of Doddridge County and not just working with the industry to gain access to folks' land. If they don't have mineral rights underneath you, I just want to mention that if they don't have mineral rights underneath you and they're trying to gain access to your land through a pipeline or anything of that nature, they have no business. They have no legal right to come onto your property and try to gain access. And albeit, calling the police and trying to get you to, coach you to let them gain access onto your property. So I just wanted to mention that. And folks in Doddridge County need to do their research on what's happening in this county, because we all need to, we all need to live healthy, and we all need to live long, and I just don't, there's a lot of problems going on in the county. Explosions, what they like to call ruptures, things like that. We all need to look into that and do research on that. Thanks.
Thank you. Jackie? I can't read the last name.
Jackie and Morris, we're also with the estate.
Okay, all right. Morse, okay. Chris? Oh, you didn't mark to speak. Where are you? You want to speak?
I didn't mark to speak. I thought I did.
No.
You sure?
Yes, you did. Sorry. Sorry, I overlooked it. Come on up. Sorry.
I just wanted to reiterate something that I said last time. People like to say things to us when we come here. A lot of us that have been coming here trying to get you guys to pay attention to the water and the air and the flooding issues. Things like your philosophy, and I think you're putting this in this environmentalist tree hugging group, whatever that means. The fact of the matter is, we want clean air, clean water, and people to be safe from flooding in this county for every single person. We don't want sheriffs coming to our property saying Antero has a right to be there. And you guys should care about that. And I'm hoping that you do, because that's how you should feel. You should care about everyone in this county, not just the mineral owners. And people that come here and get up here and talk, we spend a lot of time looking into this, and everybody needs to educate themselves, because there's a lot of problems, a lot. 4 new water buffaloes were what you just saw the other day. 5 on Halls Run Road. That's 5 families that don't have water, just in a week. It's a big deal. We're not crazy environmentalists. And why? And since when is being an environmentalist a bad thing? It's not selfish, it's a good thing. If you want everybody to have these things, you're not being greedy or selfish, so it's a good thing. So you can think that in your head when we're all talking, that you're environmental tree huggers. But I just want you to know that we care about everybody. I want every single one of you to be able to breathe the air and drink the water and not have your home flood. And I just want you to understand that, because I think you're shoving all of us in a group that has a negative feeling. And that's not how it is. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you. Where is this families that don't have water?
I was going to speak on that.
Okay, all right. Eric Bernhardt?
Yes. I just have a short statement I want to read about my concerns regarding the gas development in the county, and wish that you would take that into consideration in the deliberations that you're faced with in the coming weeks and months. I've become very concerned about the condition of our roads. They have been degraded to a point where it is not only damaging to our vehicles, but so dangerous I fear for my loved ones whenever they are out. I would like to add my concern that the conditions of the roads is only the most visible of the damage being done to Doddridge County. Not as easily seen as the overall and cumulative damage to our air, our water, our forests, and invisible is the loss of peace and quiet. Therefore, I call for a moratorium on horizontal drilling until the issues of collateral damage can be adequately addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Jody?
Just real quick, I'd like to thank you sincerely for extending the meeting time to 6 o'clock. I think we've proven, not we, you have proven that it was a very good move. And the public needs to be involved, the public does need to educate themselves. Just real quickly referencing what Mrs. Kirkwood said about chemical testing, one of the serious problems, and people need to educate themselves to this, is that what is tested in the public water supply is not coming from the gas industry. You're not even testing for what the exposure will be from the gas industry, from benzene, toluene, the volatile organic compounds. None of these things are you currently testing for. Many are colorless, odorless, so that's something that needs to be considered. I absolutely agree. We need to have more frequent testing, but just testing turbidity and iron content and salinity, that doesn't tell you if there are chemicals in your water. So a good reading from the water department does not guarantee you're not drinking benzene or toluene or carcinogens. So that's something to be aware of. Do your research. Go online, do your research. The Halls Run Road episode is right before you get to the Harrison-Doddridge County line, Patterson Fork Road. Anybody familiar with Lake Floyd area? Okay. If you take the Lake Floyd exit and go all the way past the lake, that's Halls Run. Dumps onto Patterson Fork. Right where it dumps onto Patterson Fork Road, there yesterday were 4 water buffaloes, 2 families on one side, 2 on the other side. This evening there's a 5th water buffalo. There is drilling above Lake Floyd, and there's drilling right across these. This is the 2nd round of drilling. That's the other thing that the industry likes to say. It's temporary. Temporary water buffaloes. There's no such thing. When your water's gone, your water's gone. Will you ever trust that water again? Will you ever trust that your water is safe to drink again? Water buffaloes in Doddridge County have been. Industry's come and taken them out, said everything's great. Didn't supply the test results. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Educate yourselves. As commissioners, you have to educate yourselves, not just what the industry is telling you. These families will forever be affected. Will forever be affected. We all potentially are forever going to be affected by the continued industrialization. I too would like to call for a moratorium until we find out the true impacts. And we just don't know those yet. We have plenty of states around us to guide us. 4 states confirm contamination from drilling activities. And yet we continue to pursue this like there's no tomorrow. And if we continue, there will be no tomorrow. For our kids, your grandkids, for this county, we need to be smart. And we need to hold them accountable. And enforce our floodplain ordinance and educate. Come out. I invite you to go look at Halls Run Road right now. Right now. There are 5 families whose water's been ruined. It happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that ends public comment?
Did I have any seconds left? I didn't understand.
I thought he could talk during the Mark West agenda.
Do what?
Yeah, I
I
didn't
thought he
understand
would be
that
able to speak during the,
part. Tina told me not to talk about this.
until the agenda item. I thought we could talk then.
How long of a speech do you have?
I don't have no speech, I have a few questions.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm not speaking.
Oh, okay.
It says, in the floodplain ordinance, Article 8, Section 8.1 states that once an appeal is filed, the floodplain administrator shall immediately issue a stop work order notice. Is that Mr. Riston?
That has been done.
That has been done, and that's by Mr. Riston?
Yes.
And you're looking for the resolution tonight? Is that the idea? You're going to come to a resolution on this tonight?
I would assume that's correct. And whenever he gives his,
But the accumulative totals of this 1 foot rule aren't in yet?
I'm not at liberty to discuss any of that tonight. That's, I don't know.
It's not a private
I don't know if
matter,
they're in.
right?
Okay, I don't know if they're in, and
So you can't come to a resolution tonight?
I'll let him explain when the time comes.
All right, that's mine.
He can do it better than I can. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So you will take questions?
I don't think we're going to get into it. Well, he said yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's up to him. Okay. That ends public comment. We will move, wait a minute, I'm sorry. We're looking at the two commissioners again. My fault. You have anything to say, Shirley?
No.
Okay, sorry. Right? Okay. We'll go to new business. County website conference. What do we know about it?
We pulled that off. We're not going to have it presented tonight. We know that we got our first copy, and it wasn't anything like we had asked for. So Mariana and Mary Ann discussed it with them, and we're to meet again to actually physically give them a copy of what we're trying to tell them.
Okay.
Okay? And I don't think there's anybody in this room that could have read Latin, and that's the language they use on it.
Okay, thank you. Item B, Josephine Adams Estate, removal and appointment of personal representative. Okay.
It's Mr. Morris and Mrs. Brown.
Okay, you can come up and speak to us, please. Yeah, come on up to the microphone, however many you want to come, that's fine.
Just like I said before, we're trying to get mom the state salary and Zamaraka, the state salary, because mom, got her estate. Zelma, half of her estate went to mom, at Josephine Adams, and the other half went to Chick. And we're trying to get them both settled. Zelma's been 10 years, my mom's been 7 years, and that's too long.
Okay. If I may speak for Mr. Broom,
Please.
if I may speak for Mr. Broom, I'll try to be brief.
Go ahead.
Just prepared something today. I haven't been in this long. The original for your clerk, and then I prepared copies for each of you. Again, it's a little rough, so I apologize, but I just got involved today. I gave a copy to your council, and basically, the estate isn't the Adams estate. That estate is in Gilmer County. Currently, in this county is the Ratliff estate. Rather than go into a lengthy evidentiary matter, that Mrs. Broom is prepared to do what she's done in regard to this. What we're asking the commission, if you'll notice on the back page there, is a code section, and I'll give it to your council. Basically, matters like this, that when you have a fiduciary commissioner, and this has been referred to a fiduciary commissioner, that it's our suggestion and position that this would be a matter, rather than taking up the commission's time and tonight, that you simply refer it to the fiduciary commissioner that you've already appointed. In other words, it's a very proper thing to do, to have a hearing in front of the fiduciary commissioner about whether she should continue or whether she shouldn't continue. As a former prosecuting attorney of 2 different counties, I know you all are very busy. You probably have better things to do with your time than listen to family members argue about whether somebody's done the right thing or not done the right thing. So we're simply just asking that you refer this back to the fiduciary commissioner and let him advise you, as the code says, to advise the commission on the law governing the decision in the matter. So at this point, that's what we're asking you to do.
Well, I don't think you should. I talked to that man the other day at Tony, and he said they told you, Father, and you'd settle. The man that signed the paper, his name's, what's his name?
Matthew Alexander, Fiduciary Commissioner.
Had he had a hearing on this at any time?
Hadn't had
I
nothing.
met with him and he told me what he needed to start with, and I have letters where we corresponded and submitted that to him.
So we think it's improper just to have a meeting with Matthew Alexander over here and have him handle the matter, talk to Mr. Adams, and talk to Mrs. Broom, see what she's done, and see what
Is he here now, Alexander?
No.
I don't. Well, he was going to be here, he said.
He was noticed.
Yeah. Normally, what they do when an official, in this case, the fiduciary commissioner was appointed because the estate was over a certain amount and there was more than one heir. So that's why it went to Matthew. One, he had to sign off on the appraisement, which he did. I have copies of all that. And then the final settlement, once an estate goes to a fiduciary commissioner for that reason, then we're done with it. The clerk's office is done with it, and the final settlement is done through the fiduciary commissioner. And he gets the reports from them, and he files that with me then, and then I bring it to you for confirmation, and then the estate's closed. And so I don't know for what reason they haven't been able to get that procedure done yet.
With Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Oh, he signed everything. Well, I got a copy of it.
He signed the appraisement, but not the settlement.
And what's at issue here, excuse me, he's saying she's not doing right, she's got a book showing what she's done.
What has she done? I'd like to know that.
And those things should take up the time of the fiduciary.
Well, that's all right. That's
not
what
the
we're here
county-
for.
Not the county.
Takes all night.
So that's what we're suggesting.
Well-
We're prepared to go forward if you
They
want.
could buy more time. That's what we do. But, right?
We conversed with our attorney. And we conversed with our attorney for a few minutes before we say anything. April, and we talked to her and said for a few minutes. I move we go into executive session. Who are you?
I'm the assistant prosecuting attorney here in Doddridge.
Who are you, Sweeney?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nay, ayes have. We'll be in executive session for a few minutes. Just sit still, everybody. We'll be right back.
However, it is a program that's in existence. We have federal regulations, we have state regulations, we have local regulations for our floodplain ordinance. And it's my job to make sure that those are enforced to the best of my ability. And I will try to do so as best I can. Again, I beg your indulgence in the fact that I honestly don't know the history yet of everything that's transpired here over the past couple of years. I know that there are a lot of concerns, and it's very obvious and very passionate here about the concerns with the development that's going on right now. The parameters of my job speak directly to within the guidelines and the regulations of that floodplain ordinance. That's all I can do. And unfortunately, as far as the things such as the water intakes and things of that nature, I feel, that's really outside the scope of what I can do legally within my job parameters. Okay, so let me start by saying that. In regard to the Mark West, specifically with the Mark West, the issue was with the permit 13-103. That was the big issue. What we did was, when I came on board last week, we immediately issued a stop work order as per our floodplain ordinance to Mark West. Now, the issue with that is that the work had already been done. So it was pretty well a moot point. The work had already been completed according to Mark West, so it really was kind of a moot
That
effort.
doesn't moot the point.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. What I'm saying is we didn't actually stop anything. The work was already completed, so the actual push of it and the reason for doing it, no, absolutely not. That doesn't negate that. What I'm saying is that the actual work had already been done, so that in and of itself was.
So they broke the law without regard.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Why were they doing this without all the other permits? They didn't break just our laws, they broke federal and state law. Why are they not being fined
Okay.
all over the place?
That's something that I am engaging. I actually am engaging. And I will say this, and this may get me a little bit of trouble. They have to, by our floodplain ordinance, okay, they have to have X, Y, and Z. They have to have all of their ducks in a row before they come to us. We're basically the last stop for the floodplain ordinance, okay? For the issuance of this permit, okay, there was one that was still outstanding, and that was the 504, excuse me, the 104, 104. Correct, Kate? 404, sorry, I'm getting here. It was the 404, and that came from, I've got it right here, actually. Came from the Department of Army, Corps of Engineers. So the 404 was actually still outstanding, okay? I'm going to defer here, this was before I was hired. It is my opinion, and I will say this in an open forum, it is my opinion that Mark West kind of fibbed a little bit. I'm trying to be within, I think they kind of pressured Mr. Sandora to issue the permit. He did not realize that this one was still outstanding when he issued the permit. He thought that all their ducks were in a row. Okay.
Neither one was in place. Neither one was in place when
the 401 was, because I have the dated 401 for our office, and that is the day that Mr. Sandora actually signed the permit, or the day after.
Okay,
so
the letter we got was.
Yeah, the 401 was correct. Okay, so that was good. This was the outstanding one. Now, they did receive that today. Okay, so as of now, all of their ducks are in a row, and they have all their scientific studies and everything to say that they're good. Yes.
Well, they did all this work without having their ducks in a row first. So is it going to be just like with every other company, like JB, who did the exact same thing, and the only thing our commissioners told them they had to do was apply for that floodplain permit, and then they gave it to them. There was no fines, no, like you gotta wait a year before you can apply for not following the laws. Is that gonna be the same with Mark West? Just a little kiss on the cheek and
I cannot
continue?
speak to anything that happened prior to me being hired.
Well, what are you going to do?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, I have to go within the guidance of our floodplain ordinance. As far as penalties and fees and things of that nature, we really need to get into the weeds on that and see what we can do. Okay, I am honestly just not up to speed on it yet, and I apologize. Okay, I'm just not. I'm trying to integrate a lot of stuff here very quickly. I've been a floodplain manager for 2 years, but in Ward County we don't have any of this development. We don't have the resources yet. So this is a learning curve for me. I appreciate your understanding of that. At the end of the day, for right now, the only thing I can say for right now is that The stop work order was issued, okay? The work's already been done. They now do have all of their proper permits in place, so it would have been a matter of time anyway. The work was going to get completed regardless. There was really no legal ground to stand on as far as, unless you're getting into competing engineering studies. And then that's a long-term issue. What we did, once we got the letter, we went ahead and issued the stop work order. We went ahead and put this on the agenda for this evening, as per the floodplain ordinance, and tentatively scheduled a meeting on April the 29th, which is according to our floodplain ordinance, that would be the Board of Appeals. Okay? So, the issue I have though, I do have an issue, and it's not going to make you all happy. Is there anybody here from the actual Watershed Association that sent the letter to the commission, the actual appeal? Okay, all right. Did you all send a copy of the appeal to Mark West?
We'll have to ask Mary Ellen.
Okay.
Yeah, she's ill and on here this evening.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry for that because I'd like to get clarification on that. This is as per the ordinance reads, okay? And it says, said appeal shall be served by the aggrieved person by regular mail on all interested parties on the date that said appeal was filed. So that means by the letter of this ordinance that not only does the county have to be informed, but also anybody else. So whether it be Antero or EQT or Mark West, anybody like that, they have to be informed as well. Okay. Now, once I get into this floodplain ordinance, I'm going to be suggesting some revisions to it. Okay, at the next revision, there's some changes I want to make. The first thing that I saw on this is that it says served by the aggrieved person by regular mail. My suggestion is this is going to be clarified to pay certified with return receipt, because that way you have verification that they did receive it. According to Mark West, they have not received a letter. Okay, so they have not received one at the Sherwood facility. They've not received one in Bridgeport, I believe, where their corporate office is, and then in Pittsburgh, where their other office is. So by the letter of this ordinance, the appeal's not official. Okay, so as floodplain manager, it is my recommendation to the county commission that the appeal, the actual appeal, be dismissed, because it did not follow the letter of our floodplain ordinance. Now, having said that, you still have, the citizens still have 11 days by the floodplain ordinance to file an appeal again and do it properly. I would suggest certified mail. Okay. So you still have a window of opportunity. Now, that being said, once I've given you a little bit of something to go with, the work's already done. So it's a trees forest issue right now with this particular permit. I don't know if you all want to pursue it or not. That is a decision you all will have to make. I will do what I am required to do by law, by the ordinance, as floodplain manager. We can't issue a stop work order when the work's already been done.
What?
You know. Oh, go ahead.
Mariana, who came here, had called FEMA, the FEMA office, and talked to the director for this area. And they themselves were supposed to put in a stop work order until they could come down here and inspect that site, from what Mariana told them. Especially about the accumulative, the over a foot, which if you add all those permits together, it's almost 2 feet, which is way over the limit. But yet, they got the permits with no problem. You know, just there hasn't been a permit yet that nobody hasn't liked. It doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, you have it.
I haven't heard anything from FEMA. Now, I have been from Region 3 for Philadelphia. I have been in touch with the state office, with Kevin Sneed, who's the state manager. They're gonna be coming up and looking at the site themselves later in the month. I'm not sure what the date on that is, but they will be coming up. I haven't talked to anybody at Region 3 yet. So I can't verify, confirm or deny what was said. I have nothing in writing. I have nothing in black and white. So if FEMA was to issue a stop work order, they haven't as of this point. If it comes in my office, obviously I'm going to enforce that because that comes from a higher level, and we have to abide by that. For the feds, we have to abide by that. I am searching for clarification on the cumulative. Okay, I understand the concern with that. My interpretation with that has always been that as per the laws are written, it's a one-up. So if you have, and think about it in this way, if you have a development here and you have a development 10 miles down the stream, this raises 8 inches and this raises 5 inches. Well, cumulatively, that's 13 inches. That's over the 1 foot rise. But is it fair to hold this company responsible for this company's work or vice versa? And how can you know, so the letter of the law says 1 foot, and it's kind of a one-up. But I want to see clarification on that, because there is a gray area there.
No, there's no gray area. It's clarified. They declared it as such. It is a cumulative.
Do you have the actual documentation? Because I would like to see it.
Well, why don't you contact the FEMA office in Philadelphia, who are your higher ups or whatever, and get that information on to them. They've already related the information to us. I don't know why you're so in the dark over this.
Well, he is just now.
I understand your view, but I mean, this is...
has not been.
Well, FEMA was supposed to send the same email that they sent to Mariana to Mr. Sandora, who was the floodplain coordinator at the time. And you did not receive that?
What? What are you talking about?
About the cumulative effect of these floodplain permits from FEMA, from the office in Philadelphia.
I've got emails from different people, but what was it supposed to say?
About that these, the cumulative.
The wording in the law states that it is cumulative amount, the 1 foot floodplain raising rule.
I can't.
In a water area,
In a
not just
watershed.
at one.
It's a cumulative within the watershed.
I can't recall getting a email from FEMA stating any of that.
Okay.
Well,
Greg wants to say something.
Included in the email that you did get from the engineering firm,
Yeah.
it cautioned about the assumption that you can simply add the figures. Now, what that means, I have no idea, but it seems to imply that you can't add.
That's their opinion, but Philadelphia said otherwise.
Yeah, FEMA, so you gotta go by, not the engineer.
Yeah.
They work for the industry.
I don't.
What I will openly promise to you guys tonight is that by the next commission meeting, I will have investigated this and gotten some official guidance from.
Well, you probably won't have to, because we'll have them on you.
Hey, you're my check, okay? Government is based on checks and balances, and you're my check, okay?
Don't be assuming the law one way or the other, you know, it's
My interpretation that I have read in my dealings with floodplain is that it's not cumulative. Now, that's what I've been told in my trainings that I've attended at the state level, that including engineers from FEMA Region 3 from Philadelphia that have come in and
How
instructed
can
us.
that be possible? Because it's dangerous otherwise if it's not a cumulative. If it's not a cumulative, it's horrendously damaging. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Again,
Why did you stop working on man's property? You don't do it with Mark West plan, you don't stop none of these permits, but this man that's building a garage,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Here we go, big
Yeah.
business.
Oh, yeah.
Who
Yeah, I
elected
mean-
you officials?
Yeah.
Who elected you
protect?
Got plenty of paperwork for that poor fella.
Yeah.
You know,
and
I appreciate you willing to look into it
Yes.
because
And
nobody
listen.
else has.
Yes, we do.
Well,
But
yeah,
is any
that's-
more permits going to be
Read Ralph's emails for me.
okay, okay, until you get up to speed with all of this?
Sure. As of right now, I'm the guy.
Okay.
So as of
Buck
Thursday.
stops with you.
Buck stops with me.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so you can look to me and if I need to get skewered and hung up
Oh,
in the
you
courthouse, by all means. By all means. That's what I'm here for. That's what the commission is paying me for.
I know.
My view of leadership and of public service, and I've been in the military, I've done public service all my life. I am here, I am hired at the will and pleasure of the commission. I am their employee. I am a representative of everyone within this county. I am your representative and I am your voice, okay? I am limited with what I can and cannot do by that floodplain ordinance. Please understand that. But I'm not here to be an enemy of anybody, okay?
But
So-
we can make revisions on that floodplain.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll go through a revision process. I mean, every single policy that's out there needs to go through a revision process. The newest floodplain was just passed last year, yes, in 2013. So it's going to be a couple of years probably before the next revision. That being said, public input is important. You know, I've already seen things in here just like that with the certified mail. Because what you get into with that particular issue, it becomes a he said, she said. Okay, you sent a letter, and if you don't have a receipt, they can say, well, we never got it. And then your appeal isn't valid, yes? So, you know, things like that that we can do, even little twerks like that, are important. Any government documents like that.
So I got a question for Mr. Sandura. When we appealed the JV permit, you guys happily sent all that stuff to JV. Why didn't you do that with this Mark West appeal? Then they would have had it.
Mariana probably assumed it got sent from
Well,
you.
because they did. You
Well,
said
the other spot-
everything did
now,
send us nothing.
I can't speak to the prior instance, but I can speak to this one in the fact that the onus of responsibility is on the aggrieved party. It's not on
Well, I'm
any of
just
the other
saying,
parties.
they did it before, so that's what
Right.
we were going by, and I'm wondering why they didn't do it this time.
Did Mr. Wellings do all that? Was he our floodplain manager at the time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was your lawyer, actually, tenant, that sent all that stuff and did not bother to send us anything. And then we come in here and everybody says, well, you're unprepared, you don't have your experts, and you don't have this, and you...
I think, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say something about the cumulative. If you think about it logically, it has to be cumulative, because I can do a foot here, she can do a foot here, foot, I mean, before you know it,
Yeah,
floods
got
everybody. It
50
has,
foot,
you
50
have to
feet.
do it.
Yeah. Jeez.
Let me address that for just a moment. I hear what you're saying.
Oh, before you say what you're saying, I understand what the engineers are trying to say in the letter. If they've already accounted for that, that's different, but.
Now, this is common sense, what I'm going to say. If, you know, how far does this extend? If you were to say it's for the whole tributary system of a river, you know, if Doddridge County fills up 1 foot, then anywhere down the river, down the Ohio River, down the Mississippi River, wouldn't be able to do anything in the floodplain. So, I mean, it's just common sense.
Take Middle Island Creek, and Middle Island Creek, if we raise it to 11 inches here, then Tyler County would be entirely
Yeah, they
unable
would-
to do any development
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Unless
I
it
think
was under
that's
1
something
inch.
FEMA needs to answer, because I have
And
the
that's
same
why-
question, because you can look at watersheds as little things or larger things. And when they
And that's-
say watershed, how do they?
And that's why I made the comment that it is a gray area, and I understand your point. I really do. But it is, from my perspective as an official floodplain manager, it's a gray area. Because you talk to different people and they're going to have a different answer. So again, my promise to you is that by the next commission meeting, I will have clarification on that.
I have
And try to have some clarification on
a
that.
question. That was before me, okay.
Okay, I've got a few questions here.
Sure.
First, we're only talking about number 4 and 5 plants, right?
That's correct. Only under that permit.
And they have not received any of the 401s and 504s for 5, 6, 7, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the final plant, right?
Their master plan is currently under review, per my understanding. Now, I have a meeting, and I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I have a meeting Thursday with the Mark West folks, myself, Mr. Sandora. We're going to go meet with them so that they can catch me up to speed on what they're doing. Obviously, that is the key focal point for this community.
Okay.
So I really need to get a true understanding of their history, where they're at, and understand what they're going to do with their master plan and what their actual total impact is going to be.
Okay.
So,
are you going to
I've already said that
require actual documentation that the necessary permits are already done before they
yes.
move forward?
Yes. From this point forward, yes, absolutely.
Okay. There's 2 minutes. 1978, there was a special flood hazard plan done for the Middle Island Creek and its tributaries.
Right.
Did last year's flood mapping just do away with that?
I cannot address that. I don't know. I know that the maps are in the process of being updated by FEMA. Obviously, West Virginia is not on their high priority list, shall we say, just because of the population size. The last revision of the firms, the flood insurance rate maps, for Ward County, I know was in 2012. I don't know. Was it, what was it?
11, I believe.
11, it was probably 11 or 12 here. That's going to be your most current data as far as floodplain.
But it would wipe out that special hazardous
Yeah, it overrides.
report?
It's the new standard, shall we say, and so it would override any.
Well, how can the new standard take an area out of the floodplain?
What's that?
Whenever you have a special hazard study there that's done by the Army Corps of Engineers, how can the new standard void a floodplain that's been there for years?
Okay. Let me back up for a second then, and I may have misspoken. Any previous scientific engineering studies and everything, like if you have a LOMA, a letter of map amendment for your home and things like that, all of that should be grandfathered in, should be still valid. That should still be valid.
So
I don't see why not. The new maps though supersede the old maps, but the data is the same. It's the exact same data. They haven't done any scientific studies from FEMA. So
you probably, I don't know, Butch, did you all have a copy of that study?
No.
Do you want a copy of that study?
Sure.
Okay.
I'd like one.
I've got one that was handed to me out in the hallway one day.
Okay. Yeah. Any information that you all have that can help me do my job better, please send it to me.
And the last thing is whenever you send certified mail, you need to send it regular mail too. If you do that the way the ordinance reads, then you've covered yourself to prove that they got the letter and you've covered the ordinance too.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I had not thought about that. Have I addressed the 103 permit?
Yeah, if you need to give them one of your cards or something.
Sure. I have business cards that are for Worth County. I don't have any Doddridge County business cards yet, but it does have my phone number and things on it. So you guys are more than welcome. I've got a pocket full of those. So you guys are more welcome to have those.
Can you check the email for one work?
Yeah, I established the Gmail account is an open platform, so I don't have to be on a Doddridge County computer. I can check it.
And you do check your emails, unlike
Every single day. Every single day.
And he answers them too.
Yeah.
We like you already.
Good. Wait. Yeah, exactly. I'm talking a good game. I'm talking a good game right now, but wait to see what I can do. Wait to see what I do. Again, my goal is to be. I've got to do what that floodplain says. I've got to do what that ordinance says. I can only go so far. Someone sent me photographs of what they think is illegal dumping into one of the streams. I have no control over that. I honestly don't. I wish I did, but I don't. That's a DEP issue. I'm more than welcome to take the information in and keep it in this noodle right here for future reference. But I am not legally authorized to do anything with that.
You're allowed to
Does that make
forward.
sense?
Yeah, you couldn't contact the
You're allowed to
DEP.
forward that information.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, but as far as the floodplain manager, there are certain things that I can do, certain things that I can't do. Okay? And again, I ask for your indulgence as I get up to speed. My goal is to do the best job as I can for the county, for the citizens.
Well, there's a
It's
lot
got to be a
going
balance.
on.
It's got to be a balance. And
Well,
I know there's a lot of
appreciate it.
issues.
Really do, because that's a tough job. West Virginia's worst situation is flooding. It's, the state-
Statistically, nationally, 75% of all disaster losses incurred by FEMA are from flooding events.
Yeah, they're probably closer in the 90-some percentile.
Especially with the southern part of the state. But, does everybody have a copy of the, I need to read their permits, right? The complete permits and the pending one. If anybody, there's extra copies here, if anybody wants copies of the pending and the completed permits. Again, bear with me, this is my first time doing this. So, entering into official record, as of 15 April 2014, completed permits include number 14-189, issued to Antero Resources. It is the Pearl Jean to Canton pipeline, and that is an Antioch Road, and apparently that is not in the floodplain. Number 14-189-1 is for Crestwood Marcellus Midstream LLC, is the Wagner pipeline in off Johnson Fork in Greenbrier District. Number 14-190 was issued to Antero Resources Melody Pad, the Grant District of Wolf Pen Run and Little Flint Run in the Grant District again. Number 14-190-1, Charles J. Seaver, and I'm assuming that's a private individual. And 14-191 to Mr. Albert Richards. Those are all completed permits. Pending permits include number 14-123, which is Mark West Liberty, the Sherwood Gas Processing. That is the plant master plan. That is pending as of 2/25/2014. So there is a 90-day window with that. On any pending permits, it's a 90-day window according to the floodplain ordinance. 14-185, Dominion Transmission Inc., pending 04/21/14 for Route 18 Southwest Union District, Bluestone Acres, or ARIS, it says here. Number 14-186, Dominion Transmission Inc., pending 4/21/14, and it's for Buffalo Calf Fork Acres, Greenbrier District. Number 14-187 to Antero Resources Corp., pending 4/21/14, and that's for Buffalo Calf Fork, Greenbrier District as well. And 14-188, which is for Dominion Hope Gas Inc., pending 5/5/2014, and that is for Dotson Run Central District, Greenwood. So those are the
last
permits that I have.
85, 86, 87, 88, are those pipelines or are those well pads? Or compressor station?
I do not have the answer for that. Katie is who prepared this, and so I honestly don't have the answer for that. And I apologize.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for this man anymore? Everybody's happy?
I don't know if this should be addressed to him or to the commission or where else. When somebody is flagrantly going ahead and doing work without being permitted, whether it's Mark West or somebody else, because this has been happening all over our county, what are their consequences?
I can't truthfully answer your question. Maybe he can?
Is there anything in any
I don't,
ordinance anywhere that
I don't think
provides
there's-
a consequence?
I don't think there's anything in our floodplain ordinance, is there?
Let's go to the book.
We tried to get that in there, but when Antero's and EQT's lawyer said, we'll sue you if you try to charge us anything, everybody got
No, it's
scared and would not put anything in there.
All right, section 8.4 under penalties. And again, this is written more for private construction and things of that nature. So the fee numbers are probably small in comparison. 8.4 penalties. Any person who fails to comply with any or all of the requirements or provisions of this ordinance or direction or order of the floodplain administrator shall be unlawful and shall be referred to the prosecuting attorney, who shall expeditiously prosecute all such violators. All violations shall be a misdemeanor. A violator shall, upon conviction, pay a fine to the Doddridge County Commission of not less than $50 or more than $5,000, plus cost of prosecution and/or such person shall be incarcerated in the county jail for a period not to exceed 10 days. I could read the rest. That's.
Well, so far, that has not happened.
Okay,
Well, it wouldn't matter.
but does the federal law supersede that?
Any federal law supersedes a local or a state ordinance.
So would it, if something is going on like this, would it be better to charge on it under a federal law than it would be under this?
Legally, I can't speak to that.
The penalties are certainly going to be greater.
Yeah. I would say explore all options. That would be, I mean, that's just me speaking. That's not an official statement from your floodplain manager. That's just me. You know.
Well, would you, as our floodplain, put it, give a case like Mark West, where they did all that work without getting the proper stuff and nobody oversaw anything or cared? Would you present it to the prosecutor for fining and all? Because it has not happened yet, like I said.
Who presents it to the prosecutor?
That would be my responsibility, I believe. As per the ordinance, what I just read, I would think that would be my responsibility. That's a good question.
But you can't do it because this happened before you started, right?
And
Especially on
this-
this one just now.
in this
Well, I mean, I
yes.
realize with past stuff, I can't do anything, but I'm trying to let you know what they've been getting away with in this county because nobody cares.
Understood.
They're all worried about getting sued.
Right, understood.
They don't realize they could be sued by the community if something
The best
devastating
thing,
were to
the
happen.
best thing that we can do from a standpoint of, as a community and as a county, okay? Because we don't want to, again, I have to look out for the liability of the county itself, the county government. The best thing we can do is follow the floodplain ordinance to the letter of the law. It has to be followed. If it's not, then we need to enforce it. And whether that be for a private homeowner or whether that be for a multi-million-dollar corporation, it should be equal Stevens. Should be equal Stevens, okay? Thursday, I issued a stop work order for that gentleman. I also ordered the stop work order for Mark West. I am not afraid to be the bad guy and go in there and tell him to stop work. That's my job. That's what you all and this
Well-
commission is paying me to do. So,
But since you were able to do the stop work order, could you turn that over to the prosecutor for fining them for doing all that work without having the proper authorization? And will you do that?
well, it's a unique situation. Let me say this. Now, I'm not trying to get out of the responsibility. Let me explain my thought process. That's something I'm going to have to talk with the prosecuting attorney about. To be entirely honest, we kind of messed up too in issuing that floodplain permit. Okay, so it's kind of hard to go and slap somebody's hands for doing something we said yes you can do.
They're gonna counter it, is what it's saying.
They're gonna come right back to the county and they're gonna say, well, buddy, you signed this permit, you said we could do it. So do
Maybe
I?
that would teach them
Well,
to not be so.
indeed, but here's the question. Do we sue them more than they sue us? Does that end up actually costing the county more money long-term to try to defend their multi-million-dollar lawyers?
Oh, it's always cheaper to roll over. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it's gonna cost you a thing to roll
Again,
over.
it is a trees versus forest issue with this particular.
So, but
Okay, we're getting out of hand here a little bit. We're getting a little bit out of hand.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I just want to say, on behalf, I hope that you understand that you are welcome and we want to work with you. And what you are hearing is the passion and the frustration. And that's what it is. So we want to work with you. We want to have a relationship with you. These people are living with the impacts. These are the people that have been the eyes and ears, that have seen the violations, legitimate violations. These are the people that sat in this room and said, as respectfully and sincerely as we knew how, you're being lied to. You're the first gentleman that's walked in this room and said, let me just tell you honestly, I think they did to you. I, for one, appreciate that. Do we have all our facts together all the time? We work jobs, we have obligations, but we are trying desperately. Not because we are anti-gas, but because we are pro-children, we are pro our families, we are pro healthy water, clean air, food to eat. We want to work together on this. And you're the first indication, since I've been coming to commission meetings, that might be a possibility, so I welcome that. And I think a lot of us do.
Just one thing to back up with the idea of our frustrations. I sent my letter for the appeal on the Mark West issue. I can't positively say that it was on March 29th. It might have been March 30th that was right in there. And yet the stop work order came last Thursday. This should have been immediate. This doesn't take anything but do it. It should have been that same day or the next day at least, and it didn't happen.
Again, I can't speak to
I
that.
understand.
Thursday was my first day.
I understand, but what I'm saying is this is our frustration, that even when we can say this was done illegally, go read this part, even, and still no stop work order. So it is very frustrating when they just don't listen to you, because I'm not sure why, because you think we're peons and we don't know anything, or where that comes from. But, like I said, when I was up there before, the experts are also experts at telling you just enough to make you comfortable or think you're going to be comfortable with what they say and not bother telling you the real truth.
Right. Which is again why I said judge me by my actions, not by my words.
I understand.
I'm probably going to make some decisions that y'all aren't going to like. I'll be perfectly honest with you on that. I'm probably going to make some decisions.
If you enforce the ordinance now.
Yeah. And I promise you they will be. One good thing about not living here in this county specifically is that I don't have any allegiances pre-established or anything else. Okay, I'm going to be fair and across the board. That's my job, to be that, and that's what I'm going to strive to be. I will probably make some decisions that you won't like, because if the companies do everything by the book, legally,
that's what we want.
And I know that's what you want, so.
Not rubber stamping.
Right.
You're going to take the time to actually look at everything.
One of the things that I'm going to change immediately, and Mr. Sandor and I have talked about this, and we're looking at this, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pre-permit inspection of the site and take pictures and document the actual layout of the land and things of that nature. Make sure that everything is documented prior to any type of work and things of that nature. That way, once work is done and completed, we can make sure that that the companies and individuals as well, this is not just for the large corporations and individuals as well, that they have complied with their site plans and that they have done things by the law of land.
Thank you.
So, that's my process.
I had a question, well, kind of a comment question. Some of the things that we found odd about Mark West, at least I'm a landscape architect, and I know about site planning. The thing I found odd with this whole Mark West thing, they're presenting the master plan now, and just did everything in little pieces. Are you gonna make sure when people do this that they're telling the whole truth about what they're gonna do? Because they're just asking, hey, we're just going to put a little bit of stuff in the floodplain here. We're just going to put some dirt here. But really, they know what they're going to do. I just think that's backwards, and I think it's a little bit misleading.
I understand.
And also, we have found I think you were talking about last time, where they're not showing what they're really doing completely.
That's
on these
what
websites.
my hand was up for.
And that is something that requires diligence on my part
Yeah.
to make sure that, like I said, with the site plans and things, that they're actually doing what they say they were going to do.
It's
you
like,
were talking
okay,
about- yeah,
what I've seen has been done is they use the top of the mountain to put the well pad, and it's out of floodplain. Well, the floodplain coordinator gets the map, and that's what's there, because that's the site.
Right.
But it's not showing any of the accessory land that's being used, that's down in the bottom alongside the stream, as they cross the stream, dumping their rock and all that stuff, adding to it.
This is something that I've got to get up to speed on quickly. Because again, I haven't really dealt with it in my previous floodplain stuff. But I understand the issues, trust me.
Okay, we're gonna get ready to wrap this up.
Okay.
We got, Mariana just came in.
I'm sorry I'm late, I've had some personal issues to deal with, but the one thing that I have really, really serious concerns about, and I know that Dan pretty much told me he did not do it, was keeping track of the cumulative 1 foot rule.
We've talked about that, so I can talk to you offline about that.
And
We
then,
talked about that, and I'm going to have clarification at the next commission meeting, specifically from FEMA, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to hash that issue out, because that's something that needs resolved. So we're going to deal with that. Thank you all.
Okay, we'll move on. Mark West appeal hearing. Need a motion to dismiss this. So moved. All in favor, aye.
how can we dismiss
All
it?
opposed, no. Motion carried. EDA proclamation. EDA proclamation. Excuse me. If you just want to discuss it anymore, you want to go out there in the hall, okay? We're having a meeting. I mentioned that when we first started this as a business meeting. And if you want to talk to the floodplain manager or whatever, catch him out there.
Are you talking to these folks or?
I don't know who was talking. I don't know.
Your floodplain manager was talking.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, it applies to everybody. Okay, Doddridge County Economic Development Authority. Whereas the Doddridge County Commission is interested in the economic well-being of its citizens and the community at large. Whereas the governing body is prepared to support appropriate efforts within the community to become totally prepared to promote economic development. And whereas the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, West Virginia Economic Development Council, and West Virginia Development Office are offering a program that is basically designed to help West Virginia communities become better prepared for industrial and related economic development. Therefore, be it resolved by the Doddridge County Commission that our community and region wish to participate in the Certified Development Community Program, and that the leadership of this community fully realizes this program requires dedicated effort. Be it further resolved that by making entry into this program, we are pledging our honest effort to become designated as a certified community. Be it further resolved that the program requires the existence or formation of a local economic development organization, and its governing body designates the Doddridge County Economic Development Authority as representing our community for the purpose of participating in this program. This resolution is full effect upon its adoption this 15th day of April 2014. I will move that we adopt this program on this day, April 15th, 2014. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. This is adopted by the County Commission. Resignation of DCAA board member. Mr. Compton? That's one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right. Make a motion that we accept Mr. Edward Compton's resignation of Doddridge County Ambulance Authority Board Member. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion is carried. Item G, OES and floodplain offices. Where is, okay. I'd like to combine item G and item H together. Vehicle for floodplain manager and also OES director. That's going to be a combined effort. I'd like to address both of those at the same time. Okay? I'll let Greg talk about the office, floodplain offices, and I'll talk about the vehicle for that.
During this past tax season, one of my clients owns a piece of property right convenient to this area, and as you all are aware, we have discussed probably at every meeting the amount of space that we don't have here in the courthouse. Obviously, the floodplain issue is going to be significant, and there's lots of paperwork necessary, and we need some facilities. So, like I say, one of my clients indicated that they had a house, and it's the house right down here, the little yellow house, I think it is, and I guess I should indicate what the price that they quoted. They quoted a price, and they're willing to deal with the county. They quoted a price of $40,000. It's the house that is right below the sheriff's office, next to the street, and I know the people very well that, and a lot of you would know them too, that own that, and I think it's probably in pretty good condition. But I think if I'm going to make a motion that we consider it, I think it should be inspected. I think that would be prudent for the county. I don't know whether we should have it professionally inspected or someone who's in the business of building, but that could be determined by this board. But the other thing about this is, and we've talked about an annex at length over the last 18 months or however, and we haven't had an architect in, but it would appear to me that the sheriff's office is probably about the only convenient place for us to put an annex. This property is right beside that, would give us additional property. There would probably have to be, in that case, I think there's an alleyway there that we would have to deal with the issue. But anyway, that's where it is. In answer to one of your questions when you during public comment, I think the house probably is sufficiently big that we could have the combined OES and floodplain offices, and we might even be able to find room for an administrative assistant. So that would be an added bonus. So that's where we stand, or at least the information I have on this building.
Are we talking about the triplex that's right down here, right up against the road, basically?
Mm-hmm.
So it has you'd have plenty of room for plenty of offices, okay? You've got upstairs facilities, downstairs.
Looks to me like 3 levels.
Well, the upper is just a roof space, you know,
Like a dormer.
a gable type, single, for a single person. Then the one directly on the far side is 2 bedrooms downstairs and bath with kitchen, dining room, and living room on the porch level. And then on this side, it's 2 bedrooms, living room, then downstairs is your kitchen and big setting area and laundry.
So it's got quite a lot of room. And that's the way it appeared from my looking at it.
Okay, so you're saying you'll come up with a $40,000 figure. Is this the assessed value of it, what it's been assessed at? Or is this what they are asking? And if you do get this building to make it into offices, that means it's going to have to be renovated. And how much money are you going to put into that to get it renovated for offices?
I don't know what it's assessed at. I haven't had a chance, this just come up in the last week or week and a half.
Okay.
And you may not be aware, but I'm a tax preparer.
I understand.
And I haven't had time to even think, let alone proceed on finding out these details. But yes, I'm assuming that it would probably have to be renovated, but Mr. Pat Heaster has offered to look at it and prepare any drawings that would be necessary, and then we'd have to have the work done. If it was suitable without, then we're in a move-in condition within a month or two. I think that would have to be determined, and the OES director and the floodplain manager would have to look and say, okay, we can deal with this the way it is, or it would be better. And the other thing is maybe move in. It's not the best situation to have renovation going on while you're in there, but we could kind of play that by ear. The $40,000 was the asking price. So.
If you take your rent, if you're renting it out, $250, which is cheap here, for each of the duplexes, then $125 for upstairs, that's $625, times it by 12, times it by 10, that would put you up to $75,000 as value on rental.
I think the important thing here is, from day one when I came on the commission, and it was a problem before, but I have been saying the problem is we don't have room here. We don't have room to expand. Obviously, this, like I say, this floodplain issue is something that it's not going to go away, and it's something that's going to grow. So, I'm sure we're taking up space in the county clerk's office that could be utilized, but it's something that we desperately need. And here's the other point, is that it's right here in case that is where we have to end up putting an annex building. So, to me, it's a win-win situation.
Shirley, got anything to say? I'm a little concerned about the alley or the street, whatever it is. That's my only concern. If we are going to build an annex one of these days, that would be the likely spot over there. And I would like to check with the town of West Union before any decisions was made on purchasing the property to see about the street or the alley, whatever it is. If when the time comes, if it ever did come, could we take that property over to do what we need to do?
As long as that other house
that's my only concern. What?
As long as that other house is next door, you can't.
I don't know. See, that's my only concern.
something would have to be done there anyway.
Right.
You know, we would almost have to buy that property too.
Right.
Because, you know, that would be part of the, I'm sure it would be part of any building that we would be putting up there. We couldn't have just that one little section. We'd have to have the other section, so.
Well, I will move that we get an inspection done on the home. Now, I'm not going to, I don't know who to call, but I would want some reliable firm to make an inspection on the home and give us their opinion before any decision is made. And I would like to have this, it's too early to put on our agenda for our next meeting, because can all this be done by then? Get the inspection done on the home before our next meeting?
You mean, I would certainly think so, if we can find somebody.
Okay. You want to take care of that?
I will do that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Shirley, got anything?
It seems like it's gonna run into a lot of money.
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know how much renovation is going to cost. We don't know how much renovation we have to do inside. Pat Easter agreed to look at it for us. I'm sure he can give us an idea of what we need to do.
Yeah.
You know, I know if you got any other places in town close to the courthouse that we can move in, feel free. We've searched and searched. Okay.
You didn't vote on that.
Do what?
You made a motion, but nobody voted on it.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
And you were going to include the vehicle in that?
Yeah, well, we'll do the vehicle separate.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You made a motion to table?
No.
No, I made a motion that
Inspect.
we get it inspected and
Okay.
have it on our agenda for the next meeting. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Motion's carried. Okay, we will talk about the vehicle for floodplain manager and also our OES director, Office of Emergency Services, which is Pat Easter. Talk about sharing the vehicle. Both people work part-time, and I think it'd be of our best interest if we shared it. And I don't think either one of them is going to wear it out, but we need it. So, you know, I'll share your thoughts on it.
I think we need it. There's gonna be a new one.
It'll be a new one. Okay, Greg?
I agree. We want the people, especially the floodplain manager, to be out and about, and we can't really expect him to use his vehicle, so.
I don't see this floodplain going away soon. I see it getting larger every day, and we need to get ourselves prepared. So we can't expect him to use his vehicle and tear it up when he's working for the county. So I'm going to move that we purchase a new vehicle for OES director and floodplain manager to be used in county business. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it.
We will, are you going to purchase it through the?
I'll purchase it through state bid.
Okay. And we don't have to advertise if we're purchasing it through the state, April?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I've got some additions with that, as far as emergency equipment and things of that nature to outfit for interoperable radios and things like that. Not necessarily for floodplain management, but for OES side of the house. In a disaster type situation, you're going to need interoperability radios and things. So I've got quotes from Miller Communications, which has worked with Doddridge County before.
Okay.
This also would include enough gear and things to basically do. It's got safety equipment, personal protective equipment in it, as well as all the gear to set up basically a mobile office.
Okay.
So that you can do all the permitting and everything else on site and not have to run back and forth between the...
Electronic.
Yeah.
I assume it'll be like a four-wheel drive.
Yeah, I think they're looking at one of his.
Can I ask something here? Did you make sure that the radios that you're talking about here are compatible to our 911?
Yeah, they're P25. It's a VHF high band, low band, which is the standard, and then the interoperable radios, which is for the Siren network, state interoperable radio network that can communicate anytime in the state. So literally, I have a handheld, and if I wanted to, I could sit here and I could talk to Wheeling, I could talk to Beckley, I could talk to Charleston, absolutely crystal clear.
Before you get that, you might want to check with Pat to see what he already has.
Check what?
The radios and stuff.
I will.
You know, it might be that he's already got this type of equipment.
I will. Yeah, absolutely. If they do, there's no use to repurchase.
Okay. Now, am I correct, April? I do not have to advertise in the paper for this truck.
If you're going through the state, I don't think you do.
Do what?
If you're going through the state,
I don't know what you mean by going through the state. When I purchased the other truck, I put an ad in the paper and I took bids from whichever dealer wanted to participate in the state bid. I don't know if there's any, is there any one dealer that does all the state? I don't think so.
we'll have to check on that.
Not anymore. I think there's
There's a list.
They bid on
Yeah.
the
4 or 5 or 6.
vehicle, and then they give their bid back. Depends on what you get. There is state bids on just about everything, so you don't have to advertise.
I guess I'm not.
I think you can run two
I think you're thinking two different things.
Me?
because you've got 2 different vehicles.
We bought Ronnie's to state bid. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm not quite understanding it, but,
We'll check it out.
okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that concludes our business for this evening, with the exception of our payroll and bookkeeping, budget revisions, if any. That concludes everything.
Are there any budget revisions?
I don't know. Are there any budget revisions?
Yes.
Yes. Answer your question, yes.
I'm gonna go see if she needs me downstairs.
Okay. Yes. I need for her to stay.
See if it's juvenile.
There's
still on.
3. I'm hanging out. I gotta get in the other book.
There's 3 budget revisions,
Three.
there's 1 in-house.
One in now.
Yeah, that's just moving $400 from one line item to another in Beth Rogers' budget to pay for some dues. Okay. That's what that is. The other one are state ones. One, we've hired 2 part-time people, but we haven't actually moved the money over for them yet. And then the evening hours is going to come up more than what we expected, so for retirement, if I can have those 14,000 more needs moved in here, taking it from the county clerk's earnings. Revenue, yeah, that's 22,000. Yes.
Got that, Tammy?
And there was one more, it's the inventory. You've got to move the money before too long. We have, I think we make it till the middle of May, but it's 46,000 for everything. That'd be the retirement and FICA.
And you're moving it from where?
There was money under
I do a weekly column for.
388 revenues transferred from other funds. There was extra money. We've already met our budget there, and there's a surplus there, so you could move that money.
Okay. Now, these have to be approved yet, right?
Yeah.
Do we have to approve them one at a time?
You might leave it on there. That's why I made them separate.
I'll move that we approve the budget revision for the ambulance authority, moving the money through payroll.
Motion made, approve the budget revision for the ambulance authority payroll. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. I vote nay. Thank you, motion carried.
Okay.
I refuse to sign it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do the cover letter.
Okay.
But they don't need to sign it
Okay.
as commissioner.
Okay.
And one of you need to sign the
Both,
second page.
if you don't want to stay for the rest of our transaction, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Unless you